Hi YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here again. Now we have finished my Proverbs 31 series, but today I wanted to do a recap. These 7 areas I think are areas that I personally want to challenge myself to grow in as well, and I hope that they challenge you in some way. So the 7 areas of this woman's life that I want us to explore today are: number 1, her fear of God; number 2, her marriage; number 3, her family life; number 4, her self-care; number 5, her work; number 6, her community impact; and number 7, her fruits and her character. So let's begin with the first area, the most important area, which is her fear of God. So this is a woman who wakes up early in the morning to seek God. She seeks spiritual food before the sun comes up. This is her number 1 priority in each day. She's also praised for her reverence, for her worship, and her fear of God, and she draws strength from God. Everything that we explore about this woman is coming from this time, this connection that she maintains with her Father in heaven, which is God. And I just want to kind of take that as a challenge to myself to really carve out time to spend with God, quality time to spend with God. I have things that I do routinely. I wake up every morning and I do the Lord's Prayer. I do Bible studies every week. I go to church, but I really want my time with God to be more intentional. Like this woman waking up before dawn, that is an intentional move. Gets out of her comfort zone and she spends time with God. So I want to be more intentional. I really want to carve out a time just for me to be in the presence of God. That is not kind of routine and rote. You don't want to go through the motions to connect to God because He's a person. So number 2 is her marriage. Now, I'm not a married gal, but I don't think that the time to prepare for your marriage is once you're in it. I think it's before you get in it. She marries her equal. She marries a man who has good reputation. He's known at the gates and he sits amongst the elders. But what we find out is that her works are also known at the gate. So she also has a good reputation and she has works and good character to back it up. She truly married her equal. And this challenges me to maintain my reputation, to maintain and improve my skills, my works, to maintain and improve my character, because I also want to be married to someone who's equal to that version of myself, the best version of myself. I don't think she summoned him through her good works. I think it's just the fact that, hey, we're of like mind. We can really support each other in the same direction because we are of like mind. And the other thing that really stood out to me, besides being equally yoked, is that she creates such a safe space for her husband. And it says that he trusts her. He trusts securely in her. There's something very stable and steady about her. So I kind of see this as she creates an environment where he feels safe. I know I'm not going to be rejected, and I know that I'm going to still be loved, and I know that I'm going to be understood, or at least attempted to be understood. And I think that is it, making the effort to create a safe space for the people you love, for your potential husband, but right now, if you're single, your friends, your family, to figure out how to have conversations, the easy conversations, even hard conversations, and come out of those conversations stronger, or those moments stronger. Now, her family life is number 3. So the biggest thing that I noticed about how she approaches family life is that she is all about preparation. This woman is not waiting for hard times to come. She's preempting it. She's not wasting her time worrying. She's not wasting her time complaining about the circumstances or the prices in the grocery store or the gas prices. She's making sure that she's prepared if things get really bad. She's prepared her family for winter. She is making sure her lamp doesn't go out. This woman approaches family with a mindset of, how can I preempt disaster? It reminds me of women who are, live in rural areas, and all they are doing seemingly all day is canning this and buying preservative that and this contraption and a dehydrator. You kind of go, oh, that's cute. But really, these women understand a very essential part of their role in the home, which is to shore up the family for the future, to mend those holes in the net, in the safety net for their family, to make sure there is a safety net for their family. That is such a huge thing, I think, that a woman can take on as part of her role of mother and wife in the house. And that brings me to another thing, which is this woman uses her skills at home first. She's making cushions at home. She's sewing garments, warm clothes for the winter. So she is not the kind of woman who is just using her skills out there so she can get a promotion, get a reward, applause. No, she's using her skills where it counts the most, in her family, in her home first. It doesn't mean she doesn't go out and do those things, but she's not neglecting her family, the people who rely on her. She's not all about making a name for herself. She's about really caring for the people who were put in her hands to care for. Make sure that your family is taken care of first before you're trying to patch up everything out here so you look good, right? No, be good. Make sure that your family is the most secure and sturdy thing, rather than trying to shore up all these things out there and your family is a mess or in need, that everyone else is well fed and your family is starving. And also, she's using this opportunity to build her skills at home so that she has a more perfected product even to give to the outside world. Okay, and the fourth area is self-care. This is such an interesting area because it covers a wide range of things. But the biggest thing that stood out to me about how this woman cares for herself is she does not deplete herself. She does not give out of her lack. She does not give when she's empty. This woman really makes sure that she has enough energy, enough resource to take on something new. She does not give to the needy out of her empty hands or out of her half-filled hands. It says out of full hands she gives to the needy. She does not just take on a new project willy-nilly because, well, it's available, or, well, the opportunity opened up. No. It says she considers a field before she buys it, meaning she's assessing whether or not she's going to have the energy, the resource, the money to give to that thing. She's aware of the energy she has and what she wants to give that energy to, what she wants to give her resources to whom. This brings up actually something that I had studied a while ago. I wanted to really know what the term helper meant, because helper is a word that is given to the woman in Genesis. I will give you, Adam, a helper. And I wanted to know, what does helper mean? It seems really obvious, but I wanted to get the textbook definition. And what I found there was actually two definitions. The first definition is the one we all know, but the second definition actually was describing a engine. It is the secondary engine on a train that lies dormant for the majority of the trip. But when the train gets to a steep incline that it has to climb up, the main engine is shut off and the secondary engine, the helper engine, is turned on to help that train get up the steepest and most difficult part of the journey. And once that part is cleared, the main engine can take over again. If the main engine was left to go up that steep incline, it would burn itself out. It would overheat. So this second locomotive, the second engine, actually conserves its energy. It preserves its energy for these most difficult times of the journey. I'm not saying that this is a biblical explanation, by no means. I'm not a theologian, but it really gave me a picture of what it is to be a helper, in a family. It's not about you trying to outwork him or compete. You are actually in the business of conserving and preserving for a hard time. And that brings me back to her family life, how she's always preparing. But in order for her to complete that preparation, she also has to preserve and conserve her energy, her resources. She has to do self-care. She has to be careful if she's spreading herself too thin. It's not just about taking bubble baths and, spritzing yourself with perfume. Self-care really is about how you manage your energy, where you give it to, whom you give it to, and being aware when you're running low and you need rest or you need fun. So that is how I want to challenge myself, being more aware of what I'm saying yes to, and when my reserves are running low, to replenish them. The second thing about self-care that really stood out to me is how she presents herself. And this is something I'm going to really deep dive into when I study Esther with you all. She dresses herself like the priest. She dresses herself like royalty. And I was hesitant to put presentation as a part of self-care because it seems like presentation is about other people. Other people enjoy how you present yourself. You're presenting yourself to the world. However, I don't quite see that with this woman. I see it as she is dressing as royalty. She is dressing as priesthood royalty, right? Because she's reminding herself of who she is in God. She's reminding herself of her identity in God. And so that is kind of how I want to see the way I present myself. There will certainly be days where I don't feel quite great. I don't feel like I'm beautiful. I don't feel this way or that. But my feelings are not my master. I am the master of my feelings. And I think one of the ways that you can take back the reins of your identity, even on days you don't feel well, is to dress up, to remind yourself of your value, no matter how you feel. Okay, so number 5 is her work. She's not out, as I've said previously, trying to make a name for herself. She knows her identity, which is in God. So she identifies what God has given her, and she works from that place out. It's almost like tending a garden. This woman has received a seed from the Lord, and she is watering that seed, and she's tending that garden, and she is producing good fruit, which then she shares with her family and with her community, and she even gets to eat from it herself. She's not out there trying to find it. It's in her. God has given her what to work on within herself. So she works on it. She works on it at home. She works on it in her community. She's not idle. She's not wasting her time gossiping and pitying herself. No, she always has something to improve, skill sets to learn, materials to seek out. She is a woman constantly putting her hand to a plow, and not so that she can get accolade, recognition, award, money, but so that she can give glory to God, right? In the end, they praise her because of her fear of God. And so that is such a great challenge, to see my work as a way to cultivate what God has already given me. Not work as a way for me to get something, to fill myself up, to fill a void, to impress other people. That's not my concern. My concern is God has given me this amazing seed, this gift, this talent. Let me tend this garden. Let me grow it. Let me water it. Let me make sure it gets enough sunshine. Let me make sure it gets enough rest. When that good fruit is produced, let me share it. Let me share it with who needs it. And so that brings me to the 6th area in her life, and that is her community impact. I can throw money at things all day. But the thing about this woman is she doesn't throw money at things. No, no, no. She gives. It's intentional. There's an intentionality to how she gives. There's an intentionality to everything she does in life. But she gives out of her fullness. I'm a person who loves community outreach. I love nonprofit, feeding the hungry. I love doing that stuff, and I can say yes to it all day. But the thing is, the challenge for me is actually making sure not to say yes to too many things, not to give out of my lack of energy, my lack of resource. So I want to challenge myself to flip my ideology. As women, sometimes we can think the feminine thing to do is to just keep giving. Just give, give, give until you're tired, until you can't give anymore. And we think that that is the feminine way to love. But this woman has taught me that no, that there's nothing feminine about giving till you're depleted. Like I said in her self-care, she's all about preparation, preservation, conservation of her energy, of her resource. So she's not ever going to give out of her lack. Instead, I see her mindset as one of, let me be so good at my self-care. Let me be so diligent in cultivating what God has given me that I am able to produce so much that I can give out of my fullness. That's so much more inspiring. That is so much more encouraging for you to think of your life in that way. How can I conserve enough and produce enough that I'm giving out of my fullness, that I don't even know where to put all this excess. Let me just give it out, because I've rested, I've conserved my energy, but I've also cultivated what God has given me to a point where I have so much to give. I'm not giving out of depletion. I'm not trying to people please. I'm not trying to get accolades, awards, praise from my giving. I've just been blessed, and I've been diligent, and I've been intentional about how I live my life. And so now I'm able to give without grudging. The other thing that stands out to me about her community impact is that she's looking for opportunities to help. She doesn't just stop at helping her family with her skills. She actually goes out into her community and seeks out where she can help. She sees merchants who need somewhere to put their tools, and so she actually uses her sewing skills to produce sachets for them to carry their tools. Not just throwing money, like I said, she's not just throwing money. She's intentional. God, what has God given me that I can give to my community? How can I help somebody else's work, somebody else's purpose to advance? The seventh area that really stuck out to me was her fruits and her character. All of the last 6 areas really will produce her fruits and her character. It is her fear of the Lord. It is her steady and stable and secure marriage. It is the way she approaches family life and the way that she does her self-care and maintains her self-care. It is the way she approaches work and the way she impacts her community that actually shapes her character, that it actually produces fruit. So her virtue, her character, her works, her reputation, the praise she gets from her family, the peace she's able to maintain, the dignity that she carries, the wisdom that she holds, the security that she enjoys, all come from these other 6 areas. And they all help one another. They all intertwine. This woman is really a woman. Because even, if you study the way the brain works for women as opposed to men, you know that a woman's brain is interconnected. There is no compartmentalization. Everything is connected. And I see that evidence in this woman. She's able to organize her life in a way that is in line with her womanhood, with her femininity. All of it stems from the source, from God, from her fear of the Lord. So this 7th area, her fruits and her character, is just not an area that I'm so worried about. If I'm diligent in fearing God and spending time with Him and being able to cultivate my relationships, create safe spaces for the people I care about, prepare for the future, conserve my energy so that I can give out of my abundance, to work from the talents that God has given me, if I'm able to really work diligently in these areas, I know the fruit will come. I know that my character will be shaped, and I know that my platform will be built. And that is what I want to leave you with today. Seek the Lord about who you are and how you can work on being that woman He intended you to be. And I will be doing the same. So thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Next time we will be starting our series on Esther. And until then, bye.